Welcome home, guys, and if you're new to the channel, a warm welcome to you. I'm feeling pretty good now, all things considered. I don't know if you saw my last short video saying I had gotten COVID over the holidays, but I have tested negative now and all clear, and I feel a whole lot better. So I have a lot to be grateful for, just maybe a little bit of less energy, and that's it. Okay, so I am glad to be back doing these, and I've been thinking a little bit about what I'm going to talk to you guys about, and I've been getting some more requests for stories about my family and growing up in Jamaica, what that was like. So I have a little one for you now. So when I was little and I was growing up on our farm in Jamaica in St. Anne, my father had a bar on the property, and it was in an old Pimento House storage building, and that my grandmother used to store excuse me, her pimento in, and where she would clean it. And they had large concrete, we used to have these large concrete like barbecues. That's what we call them, as barbecues. Not like you fling a steak on them or anything. These were huge concrete areas, and they had like little risen edges, and I guess that was to keep everything in. And we would just, people would dry coffee on them, and they would dry pimento and whatever else. So we used to spread the berries out in the sun, one berry thick, really thin, just lay them out one layer thick. And we had these long sticks, and they had a flat piece at the end, and you would gently push them so that they would be all flat and evenly distributed, and you would, keep turning them so that until they went from green as you pick them off the tree to this dark, dry, the allspice that you purchase in the stores here, pimento berries, right? So we also had a really big wooden pimento thrasher. There was nothing electric about this. It was like all mechanically done, and you would put it would separate the leaves and the trash from the pimento and leave you with just the berries at the end. And I remember it would make like a shaking like this when it's happening, and it was fun to watch them do it. But when it was no longer really being used too much, it was stored in this pimento house. And so my father converted this old pimento building into a bar, and he did a really nice job of it. It was quite tastefully done. The building itself had thick stone walls from the time it was built for the original purpose, and it had thick wooden maho floors. And he just put like benching around and curtains in the windows and set up his bar and what have you. And I think he really did it more for entertainment and like the social aspect, but he had a lot of fun, and he would hold court. He would stand behind there and he would tell all kinds of stories, and my father had a keen sense of humor, so it was always pure joke. And I tell you what, a lot of people, every single walk of people from every walk of life came through those doors. I remember meeting some amazing people in there that would just pass through. And politics was left at the door, because people from like major politicians from the two at the time major political parties would come there together and share a few drinks and warm conversation. And I remember meeting people as a little girl. I met like Hugh Shearer, I met Michael Manley, I met his brother Douglas, and a lot more that I don't even remember their names because maybe I was too little, but they would come in there and have a great time. And you know what? Roberta Flack, the singer, came in, and my father had a lot of things to say about her. He had a great time talking to her, and he would share those stories with us at the dining table in the house when, later on in that day. So my father kept a guest book at this place, and I think he had several over the years, but this particular one, I remember looking in it and seeing this cartoon, and I was like, what's this? And when I read, it was, if you can remember, some of you might remember the famous cartoonist of his time, Leandro. And Leandro came and he drew in the book and he wrote his name, his signature is highly recognizable, and that was in there. So I have a lot of fun going through those sometimes. And my father preferred to tell stories that had a bit of humor. He didn't really like to talk about his time in serving in World War II. And I had a friend who used to come home from school with me for weekends, and she used to like to try and dig those stories out of him. And he just wouldn't talk about it. I have a feeling it might have just been maybe a little too painful to talk about, or he just didn't want to talk about it. So, you know, my father used to love, excuse me, writing letters to the editor, because he was very, he had his opinion about all the things that were going on and he wanted to make it known. So he was quite a fast typer on his old typewriter there. And sometimes I'd walk over, like, so from the house you would cross over the barbecues and then you'd go onto a lawn and you'd get into the Old Pimento House. And he would spend his days in there writing these letters, or just writing letters to people, but he just loved to type. And so you would hear him tapping away at his typewriter, you know. So I just have some really fond memories of all of this, and I wonder if anybody watching has ever either been to the Old Pimento House or has ever heard of anybody talk of it. Drop that in the comments, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. And please remember, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends and family, give me a thumbs up, and always put your comments, because they're so much fun to read. And see you on the next video.